Welcome. Let's show that the negative of the absolute value of x is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to the absolute value of x. A pretty standard exercise. So first, I'm just going to do this by graphing. So let's appreciate what this is saying in terms of graphs. Graphs give us a nice overall view of everything in one space. The negative of the absolute value of x. Graph that. That's just a function, you see? Okay, now graph the middle one. The graph x. That's the green graph. So far the graph suggests that what this says is true. And then I graph the last one, so the absolute value of x. And that's the red graph. So the red graph pretty much also then suggests that everything is true, in other words, right? So now let's carry this out in a somewhat more formal fashion. So what happens, for example, when x is greater than or equal to 0? You're on this side right here. So then you would say in that case, when x is already positive, you would say that the absolute value of x is equal to x in that case, when x is greater than 0. So the conclusion you would reach then, again, if you go by the graph, you would have something like the negative value, the negative of the absolute value of x, which is basically like the black graph right here. You see that that's less than or equal to 0 because it's below, which then is less than or equal to basically x, which is clearly less than the red graph up there, which is less than or equal to the absolute value of x. Now, if x is less than 0, what happens in that case? Well, if x is less than 0, then the absolute value of x, like this, right, that would be found by writing negative of x, because if x is like -3, you would do the negative of the negative to make a positive, the absolute value, that is. Focus on the left side of the graph and motivate the next line that we're about to write. So you would say something like the negative absolute value of x right here, that would be less than or equal to x. Well, is that still true? Well, it is true because on the left side right here, they actually are the same. So let's do this. For now, let me take this. So notice that that's the black graph, okay? Now look at the green graph. That's x. So the black and the green graphs overlap. They overlap right here. It's hard to see them apart, but they do overlap right there, okay? So in other words, this is true basically. And then you would say it's less than or equal to 0. That's true also, right? They're both below the horizontal axis. And then you would say it's less than or equal to the absolute value of x, which again is true because the green one and the black one here are below this, and they're certainly below the absolute value of x, which is the red graph. So that's a true claim there. So using this reasoning, we can conclude the following then, that negative of the absolute value of x is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to the absolute value of x. You see, if you like math videos of a more abstract or advanced nature on a variety of topics, and subscribe.